Today I am here with Chantel Ray to answer the top 30 questions that we have gotten on intermittent fasting. So let's start off with the first one. What is intermittent fasting?
So really, it's basically a section where you say, okay, I'm going to eat now, and now I'm going to stop eating. I mean, a lot of times people want to do an 8-hour window where you say, okay, I'm only going to eat in an 8-hour window. Some people do a 6-hour window. So it's basically just where you're cycling between periods of fasting and periods of eating. It doesn't say like, okay, you're not eating this, you're not eating that. It's just involved in how many hours you're fasting and how many you're eating in. So a daily 16-hour fast. Sometimes people like to talk about the fasting side. So they'll say, I'm fasting for 16 hours or I'm fasting for 18 hours. And a lot of times people want to say, no, I'm eating for 8 hours or I'm eating for 6 hours. I personally like to say how many hours I'm eating in versus how many hours I'm fasting. What about you?
Yeah, same. Like I prefer to, it sounds better for me for what I actually get to eat than what I'm omitting. It seems like a long time, especially if I'm doing like, I'm only eating in 2 hours or 4 hours is what I would say, which also talks like a lot of people think like in intermittent fasting that, it's just like omitting obviously and then eating some, but there are different types of intermittent fasting. Like some people do time restricted each day. Some people will not eat for days and then eat certain days. Like what are the different types of intermittent fasting that you've kind of seen?
Yes. So the first one that I've seen as kind of different than the regular one is where someone says, okay, I'm going to do a 5-2 method, where that's saying that, which I am against this method, but basically what it's called is where 5 days of the week, you just eat kind of normal. But then 2 days, you're still eating on those days, but you're only eating 500 calories on 2 of those days. And so it's just called the twice a week 5-2 method, which I'm totally against because I'm totally against counting calories.
Yeah.
The other thing is what we call an alternate day fasting, which I'm a big fan of alternate day if it's on and off, which means like you could say, Monday I'm going to eat, Tuesday I'm going to fast, Wednesday I'm going to eat, Thursday I'm going to fast. But a lot of times what they call the alternate day fasting is, again, this whole calorie restriction where you say, I'm going to eat regular, and then on the next day I'm only going to eat 500 calories. So anytime it's a calorie modified fasting and the modification is based on your calories, I'm not a fan of it because I feel like that becomes more of a in bondage thing. So I just believe that you should either be fasted or you're not fasted. Now, I'm not against doing a juice fasting. If you feel like you're going to do a longer fast and feel like you need to add some juice in there, or bone broth or some of the crutch drinks that I talk about, that's different.
Yeah.
And then the time restricted eating, that is where we talked about where you could do a 16-8 or you could do a 14-10 or you could do an 18-6, which means 16 hours you're fasted, 8 hours you're eating.
Yeah.
And I personally think 10 hours, if you're eating in a 10-hour window, meaning 14 hours fasting, 10 hours, I mean, to me, that's not really doing any kind of fasting.
Oh, yeah, that's like a normal, like that's just crazy. And I agree. I do not like the calorie counting fasting because one of the things I love about fasting is I do get to eat what my body craves and not like what I'm restricted, like, oh, I can only have one Oreo. Like, no, if I feel like eating 2 Oreos, I eat 2 Oreos as long as it's within my window and as long as I'm full, like not full yet.